Let's talk about the Wyatt Six.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you saw the rumours earlier on in the day, but there were rumours circulating that today was the day, as in Monday was the day. So we got Uncle Howdy and his Wyatt Six, even though there's only 5 of them, which is a point we can discuss. What did you... I mean, I thought, just in terms of how it looked, how it was executed, I thought it was flawless. I thought it was eerie and spooky and weird and fantastical and all those things that the Bray Wyatt stuff always is. Just in terms of the moment alone, I thought it was pretty perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I knew it would be. I knew that they couldn't mess this up. You know, this is a new faction that's dedicated to the late, great Bray Wyatt. So, you know, I knew that this was going to be a moment in time, a memorable moment. And I knew the presentation, the way all these talents are going to be introduced, it's going to be great. And I feel, and I did enjoy it. I'm not saying I didn't. I was like, this is actually quite cool. But I'm always, with these fantasy, mystical type of bookings, I don't pay attention to it for too long. It's like I get involved and then I'm out.
Yeah.
And I feel like the way they booked this one was brilliant because it seems to me that this might be a really strong faction going forward. They decimated the locker room or the people working in the back. I know there was a lot of rumors rumbling that people thought Gunther was part of it who got attacked, and people thought Carmelo Hayes, but I don't think that was true. It was Chad.
Carmelo Hayes, maybe. I think there's an image of him lying on the. I thought it was him anyway, lying on the ground.
I don't think it was him though. I think it was just some guy.
This is the thing. I think Chad Gable was the one that was noticeable. That is Chad Gable.
That was the
Chad
obvious
Gable.
one.
Yeah.
I thought I saw Karen Cross, but I don't think that was Karen Cross.
Fingers crossed it was.
But yeah,
if they are here just to take out the final testament,
that'd be amazing.
That
right?
would be job done.
So I enjoyed it. I loved how Nikki Cross looks. I love how the whole presentation. I love how they all look. To be honest, they all looked amazing. I just think going forward now, they need to book this faction really strong. I don't think WWE's really done that with factions. You see, with WCW, they pulled the trigger on NWO and they made sure that NWO was the most dominant force in wrestling and they took over the whole company. WWE don't really do that with their factions. They make them strong in terms of competitors, but they don't really ransack a whole company or hijack a whole company. They don't really do that. I think with this, they need to do that.
I mean, they tried it with Retribution.
They did try Retribution and they tried it with Nexus and that didn't work. Well, I mean, the first night worked.
It's not that it didn't work, it's that Vince didn't follow through.
That's right.
Yeah. Certainly on Nexus.
They need to follow through with this with Wyatt Six. I think this needs to be a threat of the likes that no one's ever seen before. They need to make the bloodline scared in their boots. That's how I would book this faction. And I'm afraid, I feel like who's running the help, no disrespect to Bo. I think it's great that Bo is Uncle Howdy and he's the main leader. But because they haven't had any faith in Bo before, prior to this, I don't know if he's the guy. Like, if this was Bray Wyatt at the helm of the Wyatt Six, I'll be like, all right, let's go. I'm a bit worried that because it's Bo, I just don't know if I'm not confident that they're going to really go full pelt with this faction. But I could be wrong.
Next.
If this is anything to measure it by, Triple H has faith in Bo. He made him his second world champion down in NXT after Rollins.
Very true.
So he might, you know, and of course they had this vision when Bray was here. So for some part, they might be pretty much playing out what Bray had written.
I think they are.
And, you know, they've got is it the director, the horror director, is he still there? That they brought in when Bray came back?
Yeah.
I think he's still working.
I want to say his name's Rob somebody. I can't
Rob
remember.
Zombie.
Not Rob Zombie.
Just one thing I wanted to add. You mentioned about when they showed Drew going through Gorilla and everything backstage. I think that was totally intentional. Like, they just showed Gorilla for an extended period. We see Gorilla a lot now with the whole tracking camera and stuff like that. But to kind of show Gorilla normal as what it looks like, and then show us destroyed Gorilla, I think is to kind of show us that contrast between the two.
So I thought. So this is like, I don't want to put a dampener on anything because I really loved it. I thought it was good. Dare say better than Bray's return at Extreme Rules 2022. I thought it was executed so perfectly. I love that the current creative's mandate is to go behind the curtain and beyond the parameters of like Vince's creative and, you know, into gorilla position, all that stuff, literally. And just while we're talking about the faction, let's just go through the names, just if anyone is unsure. So we've got Bo Dallas as Uncle Howdy,
Yep.
Nikki Cross as Sister Abigail, Eric Rowan as Ramblin' Rabbit, Joe Gacy as Huskus the Pig, and Dexter Loomis as Mercy the Buzzard.
Great faction,
Right?
man.
That's what we're looking at. Yeah,
That's a great
incredible faction. But my concerns are, and I've always said this about Bray, as a creative genius, and he is, like what he always came up with was incredible. But how did it fit in a pro wrestling landscape? When it comes to pro wrestling, long-term pro wrestling booking, it failed to translate more often than not. So as I said on my tweet on Tuesday, the real test for Triple H starts now.
Yeah.
100.
Triple H and team. Obviously, it's not just him. It's this Rob guy. I'm so annoyed I can't remember his name. But they have a bit of a creative lead.
Is it Rob Kerr?
No.
No.
Thanks, Ben. What out of interest? What did you type into Google?
I just found the themed horror and then his name.
No. But yeah, that's always the concern. How will it translate? And just to the point about about Gorilla Position being destroyed, whilst it was so cool and there were sparks flying and smoke everywhere and bodies everywhere, it was so well done.
Yeah.
But if earlier on in the show we're getting an angry Drew McIntyre storming backstage, and he has a bit of a run-in with Triple H, and Adam Pearce is there, and it's something the commentators reference and stuff. In that world, in the arena, if there is disaster happening in Gorilla Position, do you not think during the Money in the Bank qualifying match you'd have Michael Cole going, sorry, something is happening here.
Exactly.
What's going on? Sorry, we might have to cut to a commercial or
That's
something.
right.
That's true. That's true.
So it's things like that where I'm like, these two worlds must work together.
I agree. Because even after the debut, who had an interview with Jey Uso?
Yeah. Jackie Redmond.
Jackie Redmond had an interview, and it's like nothing happened. I mean, Jay did reference them, but it's like, why are they doing Raw talk after the
Chaos.
destruction and chaos?
Yeah,
why are you doing that?
If anything, they go, we're not going to be able to give you Raw talk
that's
tonight.
right.
Yeah.
We are.
And they run a replay of Clash or so. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they, and that's my only concern. Is like, does this stuff, this eerie, mystical, over the top characters that we've always seen with Bray and his factions, do they kind of sit slightly apart from everything else? But then no, because we're seeing Chad Gable dead.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's my only concern, and I think that's why creatively it's a huge test.
This goes into my random question.
Here we go.
Skillet's random question. Oh, yeah. So my question is,
Go on.
in terms of in-ring, how do you book the Wyatt Six? Like in terms of wrestling a match, how do you book them?
Well, that would be a question for WWE's Director of Long-Term Creative, Rob Fee.
Ah.
I know it's Rob.
Okay.
Got there in the end.
So Rob is the guy who's kind of running the Wyatt Six.
Right.
Stuff.
Okay.
And is brilliant. Like by all accounts,
I think he's
does
friends with
incredible work.
Alistair, the media. Shout out to Alistair.
Alistair McGeorge.
George, yeah,
There he
that's
is,
right, yeah.
from the Metro.
From the Metro, that's
Spent a
it.
lovely couple of days with Alistair in Glasgow.
He's a good lad.
So your question, how do you book? I mean,
do you book them?
to be fair, I wouldn't say that's really a random question. That's
know.
exactly what we're talking about.
Perfect.
Good.
I think we have to immediately forget the titles. Like, please, we don't need to see any one of these people deviating to go and be the tag team and go
Okay.
after the mid-card belt. I think more, and this is what I was referring to with regards to the hurt and the heel. And I don't know if you saw his glove. He's wearing Bray's
Bray.
name on the same hand that
Yeah.
Bray wore hurt on.
And heel. Okay.
Oh, no, Bray is on the hurt hand. I don't think there's any glove on the other hand.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, are they just gonna tell a story about emotions and grieving and getting over grief? Or these guys, how they're getting over grief is by destroying everybody.
Right.
Bray's MO was like, I'm gonna beat you up, and then you always used to see the wrestler change to a bad guy. That's what I guess the internet noticed. Well, is he
And
gonna?
was it? Yeah, no. Let me let you finish. Sorry.
So is like Bo or whomsoever going to be beating up these guys, like we said, Chad Gable, and then Chad Gable comes to his senses and turns to a good guy. Like, is there hurt going to heal people
Interesting.
That's nice.
away
nice.
from all the.
That's different.
Yeah, because I'm thinking we can't involve titles. This is where the Fiend went wrong.
Okay.
So, are they going to teach us a larger story? And more so, I think this should have a timeline.
1,000%.
That's exactly what I was just about to say.
1,000.
You
They-
give
they-
this
totally agree.
18 months to 2 years, maybe max
Totally
or
agree.
something. If you're not shorter, and just get them off screen.
This needs to essentially be a film with
Yes.
an act 1, an act 2, and an act 3.
Yeah.
100%.
I agree.
That's such a good shout.
I agree with that.
So the problem with so much of Bray's creativity was we got these vivid images and ideas and concepts and promos, but they didn't make a cohesive, coherent whole. And that's to your point. Like, make this just one whole story with a start, middle, and end. Is mystical. My notes here: mystical, eerie, brilliantly executed. Lots of take notice segments. And Bray's character work is so great, but it needs to fit within the structure of a long-term story.
Yeah.
So it needs to be kind of reality based as well. They can't get too mystical with it, right? You know how they do the things where people are shooting fire and fireballs.
And that's the one thing I'd say that from obviously they debut, we didn't see anything that was overly supernatural.
Yeah.
We just saw
Yeah, no
destruction
supernatural
and
stuff.
horror.
Yeah.
Leave the supernatural
I
stuff
agree.
out. 100%.
More Colt Wyatt based.
Yeah.
If it's more,
anything.
if it's more
more like-
cult, and they take off the masks
Perfect.
to wrestle, and they are people in masks,
Yeah.
because of
Great.
whatever they believe, then that's something we can get behind.
Yeah.
Whereas if they, if the arena's red, and all the mistakes, like, okay, so here's a question, right? The creative shortcomings for when it came to Bray and how he was and how the stories were always kind of executed on TV, was this a Vince issue, or does Bray need a filter? And do we have the creative in place now to put that filter in to go, this is brilliant, but this is what we need to do with it. This is how we need to shape
think
it.
so.
This, as you say, needs to run for 2 years max, and then
I mean, I don't
Something
want to. I don't want to go on like Vince didn't come with any great ideas because he clearly was a man of great ideas. But I feel with the Bray stuff, I don't know if you fully understood it. And I think with Triple H, he can take a lot of this stuff that's Bray already written because he's working with Bo as well, isn't he? I guess he's working with
Yeah,
Bo
he would be.
and Rob with this whole story.
Yeah, yeah.
And he could definitely be like, "I know this is how we do it." I think Triple H is definitely somebody at the helm that can really make this work for sure.
Yeah, it sounds crazy to say this, and of course we miss Bray, rest in peace.
Yeah.
But it may just be what may lead to the success of this is the fact that it's somebody else
Else's-
executing
that's right.
what his plan may have been, but it's coming through the lens of maybe someone else. And yeah, maybe like you're saying, there could be times in the past where things have gone too far left because maybe whether it be Bray or Vince, we're trying to do too much.
Whoever came up with the idea to cut Uncle Howdy's mask, like it kind of looked like the Phantom of the Opera, what the Undertaker had. Remember when Undertaker broke his nose and he had the
his eye socket.
Whoever came up with that idea, that's a great. Because I never really liked the Uncle Howdy mask, but now that he's got that cut there, and you can see a bit of his chin and it's looking good.
So we have Uncle Howdy, we have Sister Abigail, we have Rambling Rabbit, we have Huskus the Pig, we have Mercy the Buzzard. That's 5 people.
Oh, come on, we know who it is.
They're the call the Wyatt Six.
We know who it is.
Who?
Alexa.
Alexa Bliss. I disagree.
I don't think it's as cut as dry.
You think so? You think somebody completely new?
Nope.
Oh,
You think it's Bray?
I think it's Bray.
I
what
agree.
inside the? Isn't he not in the lantern? Is that the soul of Bray in the lantern?
I think they have so many images and archive footage
That they can use.
that they can use to make to give Bray a complete presence within the group,
Okay.
and like he's leading them. And I think, actually, like, that's quite an emotional, powerful
That's quite
thing.
deep.
That really
That
is
is quite deep.
AI could easily do his voice.
Yeah.
AI could probably do his like a figure of him and whatever the case is.
Like, and
Interesting.
I think with Alexa Bliss, it could be, because I would assume she would have been in the Nikki Cross role.
Position, yeah.
Alexa has just had a baby, or just
Yeah.
about to, you know, she's
Yeah.
a new mum
True.
or about to be a new mum. I can't.
She's had the baby.
She's had the baby, so she's a new mum. This is going to be a full-on creative load to take on.
Yeah.
For the foreseeable future. Maybe just Alexa's like, I think I need to step away.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe she's not involved at all. And maybe the sixth person is Bray. And there's something about that I really, really love.
Bray surely was one of the six when, you know, if he was to be alive anyway, when they planned this initially. So maybe it wouldn't have been, you know, a Joe
Yeah.
Gacy involved or someone like that.
Yeah.
Because Bray would have been there. So
That's quite touching.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't overdo it and make Bo do like stuff that Bray used to do. You know how they did it with Chavo? Oh, do the thing, Ray. And
He's
with
got
Eddie
to be
Guerrero.
his own
He's got to
man.
be his own man.
Or
Don't do the
monster.
thing that references Bray.
he shouted obviously at the end of the whole segment, we're here.
That was good though.
And
That was great.
But you know, that's the one part that kind of got me. I was like, it's not Bray though. You know,
No.
Bray would kind of go, we're here.
Yeah.
Like kind of sinister, lower tone.
But Bo did,
like-
Bo did well though.
No,
Bo
he
did
just
well.
said it. And
Yeah.
like you're saying, maybe he just has to put his own spin on it and we have to get
Yeah,
used to that
I
as
think
fans.
so.
But you know what? I mean, just thinking about it, I want to go back and watch it, but to execute that 5 minutes of TV live,
Yeah, amazing.
it's so amazing.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. Just it was all so dark and like just stupid things with Nikki Cross crawling. She looked, and I mean this in
Yeah,
the
she
nicest
looked
possible way. She looked rough as old piss. Do you know what I mean? But in a brilliant way.
Yeah.
But her crawling along and like through the smoke and her pointing in exactly the right place and that light being there and then the camera tracking through. You know, just so well done.
There was a part where they were coming through Gorilla where Uncle Howdy, Bo, he tripped on something.
Yeah, and then he started
Yeah,
out
yeah,
and he
yeah,
still
stumbled
walked,
or something,
turned
and
it
then he
into,
just-
he's right. Yeah,
Because
Rex is right.
it was pitch black. It was dark, innit?
He
So-
tripped, but then he started out and turned into like a cool
You know
walk.
that thing that Bray was like.
Yeah. So good, man.
How much would it have ruined the moment if he'd slightly tripped and went, "For fuck's sake."
The shock master. And his mask falls off.
that
But
would've
can
been
I just
excellent.
say, on a personal note, I'm ecstatic and happy for and excited for Bo. Like,
Oh, yeah,
I
of
think
course.
Bo
This must be the
has been
hardest thing.
one of the hardest things. And it's crazy how this world works out, how life works out. You know, Bo has been talented for a very long time, and I felt he never really got his just due. He was doing great work at NXT, and then when he got called up, he was in stupid little tag teams, and he wasn't taken seriously. At one point, he was the manager for the Miz.
The Miz
Ish.
stuff was the best thing he did.
That
on
was the
main
best
roster.
stuff.
The Miz Taraj.
That was
or
the
whatever
Mr.
it
Rush was
called.
great, but
Yeah.
there was never a plan for Bo.
Yeah.
And if it means, you know, unfortunately losing a great wrestler like Bray for Bo to finally get his spot. Hey,
Oh,
man.
losing his brother. I mean, it's the epitome of bittersweet.
100%.
This. It really is. But I think,
But you know, Bo's gonna really ride for him with this. He's gonna be great.
Yeah.
He's gonna be great.
and good on WWE.
Yeah.
like for following through with this and giving him this opportunity to see this through and to
Absolutely.
tell this story. And of course, it's business, and they know everyone's going to make money, but they are supporting him. They're supporting JoJo and the family.
Yeah, man.
It's amazing.
I was going to ask James,
Okay.
do you want to share with the audience, you don't have to, what you thought your prediction was for this, if you remember when we were on Friday night when you told us?
I think it would probably be a little misjudged.
That's fine. Okay. No, yeah, that's fine.
Let's not talk about
To
that.
say it on air.
So I was speaking to my friend about it, and he was saying, yeah, well, you know, it looks like they're coming on Monday and stuff like that. And I told him what your thing was, and he thought, you know what, it's not too far fetched. And he said, for everything that we think, you know, Bray Wyatt, creative genius, etc., etc. And he said, and his theme song. And I was like, what do you mean his theme song? He goes, have you ever seen the lyrics to Bray Wyatt's theme song, Shatter? And I was like, no. He said, have a look at them. So I'll read you the chorus rather than the whole song. The first line of the chorus, die for me, brother. Love one another. Lie for me, brother. Use me for cover. And I thought,
That's crazy.
this is pretty deep, considering even now that he's passed, and obviously wouldn't have known, you know, the verbiage of the chorus was gonna, I guess, somewhat come to life.
That is crazy.
That's freaked me out.
That's freaked me out. as well.
Sorry.
No, but like in an incredible way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea the lyrics were that.
Wow.
So yeah.
Should we? I know he's passed. Should we give Bray Wyatt a round of
Of
applause?
course,
Yes.
man.
Bray Wyatt. A round of
It was brilliant. He was so ahead of his time.
So let's hope and pray that what we get creatively is something really special.
I hope so.
I think we're in a time in WWE where this could be.
I'm a champion!